Have you heard about Karl Marx?
Yes, I actually have heard about Karl.
Yes, I've heard of him, but I'm not so sure about him.
I heard about Karl Marx, but I don't know what he said actually. I don't know what's the theory he already.
No, I never heard. No. Yes.
Yes, I have heard it.
No.
Karl Marx. If I'm not mistaken, he's into psychology. He has major contributions in psychology, and he has done great things for the people so that they can understand the human mind better and to figure it out better so that people may diagnose people better and stuff like that. Yeah.
Alright, thank you.
I think so. He's a philosopher, a revolutionary, but I'm not well versed with his works. But yeah, I think so. He's a person revered throughout the history.
I think he is one from the who said about the human beginning. Right? I remember he said human became from the monkey or something like that.
Alright, thank you.
He's scholar?
He's a political thinker and philosopher, and he wrote many books like Communist Manifesto.
He's a communist.
Alright, thank you.
Person singer.
But I think he is a famous guy. Maybe he's a figure or philosopher like that. That's all.
Alright, thank you. Karl Marx was a German political thinker who wrote about money and power. He was born in Prussia. After a year at the University of Bonn, during which Marx was imprisoned for drunkenness and fought a duel with another student, his worried parents enrolled their son at the University of Berlin, where he studied law and philosophy. There he was introduced to the philosophy of the late Berlin professor Hegel, and joined a group known as the Young Hegelians, who were against existing institutions and ideas on all fronts, including religion, philosophy, ethics, and politics. After receiving his degree, Marx began writing for a liberal democratic newspaper, Rheinische Zeitung, and he became the paper's editor in 1843. The Prussian government banned the paper as too radical the following. Marx moved to Paris in 1843. There Marx met fellow German emigre Friedrich Engels, who would become his lifelong collaborator and friend. In 1845, Engels and Marx published a criticism of both young Hegelian philosophy. By that time, Prussian government intervened to get Marx expelled from France, and he and Engels had moved to Brussels, Belgium, where Marx renounced his Prussian citizenship in 1847. The newly founded Communist League in London, England, drafted Marx and Engels to write the Communist Manifesto, published the following year. In it, two philosophers depicted all of history as a series of struggles, historical materialism. Karl Marx's life in London, revolutionary uprisings engulfing Europe. In 1848, Marx left Belgium just before being expelled by that country's government. He briefly returned to Paris and Germany before settling in London, where he would live for the rest of his life, despite being denied British citizenship. He worked as a journalist, including 10 years as a correspondent for New York Daily Tribune, but never quit, managed to earn a living wage, and was supported financially by Engels. In time, Marx became increasingly isolated from fellow London communists and focused more on developing his economic theories. In 1864, however, he helped founded the International Workingmen's Association, known as First International, and wrote its inaugural address. 3 years later, Marx published the first volume of Capital, Das Kapital, his masterwork of economic theory. In it, he expressed a desire to reveal the economic law of motion of modern society and laid out his theory of capitalism as a dynamic system that contained the seeds of its own self-destruction and subsequent triumph of communism. Marx would spend the rest of his life working on manuscripts for additional volumes, but they remained unfinished at the time of his death of pleurisy on March 14, 1883.
Have you heard about Karl Marx?